Hello, my friends. This is Jon Rognerud, founder of chaosmap.com, a creative agency in Los Angeles. We focus on customer acquisition strategies, and we remove chaos in your business and turn it into reliable and predictable profits. We've been doing this for over a decade now, and of course, in our online world, in our online game, it's all about digital strategies and tactics to drive traffic and get more leads and improve sales and ultimately your long-term value for your business and of course for your customers, so that they become advocates for you ultimately over time. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're just going to talk about a subsection of this. I titled this presentation today, Online Power Tools You Cannot Live Without. And so thank you for watching here on YouTube. Actually, this is live right now on Facebook. And it's on the Chaos Map page, actually, and it is distributed out to YouTube. It is, of course, all our wonderful listeners on the Media and Marketing podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play, and had an issue with Shopify, actually, but we're going to be up there as well. So it's a wide distribution network here, and it is growing, which is exciting. A lot of learning that goes into this, but luckily over the years we've spent enough time in the trenches to learn what's working and what's not working. And today I wanted to dig into a presentation and I made late last year for about 200 people up in Las Vegas. It was a Amazon sellers group, and I'll actually be sharing more from that presentation. I got such great feedback on it when I spoke to those guys up there, guys and gals, I should say. And one of the things that I really focused on during that presentation is that if you look at your business from a 360 perspective, there's clearly, I keep saying, a lot of moving parts. It's just generalizing, obviously, a potentially complex situation in your ecosystem. But the truth is, there are many moving parts, and there are many moving parts that need to come together. And one of the things that we like to focus on is data, right? Because ultimately, especially online, and any data that we can get a hold of will tell us a lot through that analysis, comparative analysis to the marketplace as well, and of course, optimization strategies that helps us improve on that intelligence. And one of the ways that we can do that, outside of the obvious, which, of course, many of you out there are using Google Analytics, tracking systems, third parties, etc. But one of the ways that we can do that is to first understand the process from the first touch point through that customer journey all the way to the back end, of course. But then along the way, what are some of the tools and some of the sort of more inner workings of the business using to allow them to get more productive, to allow them to see more of their data? Well, one of the things during that presentation that was really exciting, and people asked for this presentation, and by the way, I'm going to consider this part one in this presentation. I'm going to do a part two of this broadcast, and I'm going to give you access to the slides as well. It's been updated, so you'll get the most current one. But what I'm going to be doing here is essentially sharing a section of that presentation, as I said, and what was really exciting is the tools, the power tools. But I made it very clear, we don't want to focus on the tools for the sake of the tools. The shiny object syndrome comes to mind here. Get the list, which I'll share with you today. Understand what these tools can do for you, and then implement the ones or use the ones. There are some trials, there's some freebies, and obviously there's ongoing paid subscriptions as well. I'm not necessarily advocating just jumping in, right? Make sure that it applies to you, that it's not just sexy and cool and, you showcase some piece of information or some piece of data that seemed appropriate for the moment, but it really was not part of your longer term strategy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just dive into the presentation here. And the reason why I'm not on camera today is I had some technical issues here, as you probably saw from my last broadcast. And so I just want to make sure that I do this right, and hopefully I'll not have to eat my hat here. But you should be seeing a presentation right now. And that's what I'm seeing as well. So, yeah, looking good here. Let me... okay, cool. We should be good. So, what we're looking at here, and for you all that are listening, don't worry. You can access this, as I mentioned, on YouTube, a live page, and several other places, including Twitter and LinkedIn. But you'll be able to actually hear this as you're driving. And think about some of the tools here that might resonate with you, because I'm going to tell you their names and I'm going to describe them briefly, how we use it, if we use them, or if we have tested them and not using them anymore, etc. And some of this is going to go pretty quick. Others I may spend a little more time. So without further ado, let's dig in. The first one here, I talk about intelligence. And intelligence is very important because it belongs into the category of, spying, right? Basically allowing us to look at, the universe at large, drilling down to competitors and and basically data points that are important to us to get this into our world. So the first one here is espionage or spionage, right? It's a cool tool, but I would say the next one we use more. And we actually had a subscription for a long time, which is spyfu.com. But the one that we use now as a subscription is semrush.com, a fantastic tool for both paid SEO content, links, just an entire universe there. And they have received many awards. And I think it starts around $100 a month or so. But there is a free option as well. Most of these tools have a free option. Another one we use quite a bit for link analysis for SEO, search engine optimization, is ahrefs.com. You can use that for free for a certain number of iterations, I believe, and then there's a paid subscription, which you also have. And then it's answerthepublic.com, a very cool tool. That is free and paid as well. And of course, the ultimate, which is buzzsumo.com. And let me see here if I can just move this thing out of the way. I guess not. That's fine. And so right there, when we talk about intelligence and analysis of the marketplace, you got, you could pick basically semrush.com and be done with it, right? But we don't like to rely on one tool and one tool only. We like to look at data spreads across the universe, and frankly, things change. There are some of these tools that capture different information, and they have different metrics and evaluations of how that is calculated. And if you know and understand the tools and your marketplace, you'll be able to put together a very comprehensive analysis and reports for your peers and executives. So here we have. Let me see here if I can get this guy out of the way here. Have a little window on my side. Apologize, guys and girls, and we're going to get right back into it here. So yes, much better. So here we have. Intelligence around keywords. So if the first set of tools was more about the universe at large, then we're really drilling down a bit more here. Now, SEMrush, as I mentioned, it keeps coming up, a favorite, handles a lot of this as well. But again, as I said, third-party tools in a comprehensive review is important. You may frankly like the interfaces of some of these better than SEMrush. SEMrush is very, very involved, as I mentioned. But if you're doing some lightweight keyword research, that could be fine. But you may find that the keywordtool.io or keyword.io for long-tail research are fine. Maybe keywordkeg.com, right? This really becomes down to a combination of usability, preference, pricing, as I mentioned, of course, but also the value that it yields to you and your research and your business. Some of these data points are going to have crossover, they're going to match, right? If you're using something like Google Keyword Planner and one of these third-party tools uses an API that talks to that, it's just going to basically be the same data, but the UI will be different, and you may find that the UI just really relates, or, sort of just, you can relate better to it, right? It's easier to use. Like, for instance, kwfinder.com, keyword finder, suggestions, autocomplete, questions. It's a fantastic tool that uses APIs from Google and scrapes Google as well, I believe. So that's another one that we use. And briefly, just to go through this list here, because I've sort of called out a few, is serpstat.com. We use that. Amazon bestsellers. That's a way for you to do some intelligence on the top sellers, essentially, for research in the marketplace. Keywordtool.io, I mentioned, keyword.io, keywordkeg.com, Scientific Seller, fantastic for Amazon research and keyword research as well. Uber Suggest, taken over bought out by Neil Patel. It was free. I think it's still free. Like it, but we really don't use it that much. We may have to come back to review that more. kwfinder.com, fantastic tool. Actually got great response from the session that I held up in Las Vegas, as I mentioned. And of course, Google Keyword Planner, great for PPC work, not so much for SEO, but really also is very tightly integrated with Google Ads, the old AdWords back in the day. So you can select some power tools from this list in the intelligence sector. Now, I'm going to dive into Amazon Spy Tools, because this was a presentation that I made specifically for driving traffic to an Amazon e-store. And here we have keywordinspector.com, and we actually use that. sonartool.com, amztracker.com, helium10.com, fantastic tool. Those guys are really awesome. Merchantwords.com, that I have not used. We haven't really used that, I think, at all. I don't know why it made it on the list, but I think one of my research folks made it happen. So anyway, so the search terms report is on here. This is really an aspect of paid advertising. So the search terms report is, of course, a option inside Google Ads that allows you to see related terms for what folks are typing in for both Amazon and Google Ads. This is a goldmine in terms of harvesting keywords that are the most applicable for your ads and for your universe, for your ecosystem. And you need to mine that and actually utilize that and push it out to your ad campaigns for your keyword tracking. JungleScout.com, Dollar Days, and Wanello.com, have not used those at all. Actually, Dollar Days we have. Sorry. Content creation, that's the next section. So we've gone through the intelligence, we talked about the keywords, and we're going to dive into content creation. Content creation is exactly what I'm doing right now. Every word that I speak to you here is essentially content, the whole presentation into digital format. As I speak now, this is actually going live out to Facebook. And as I said, the distribution is wide and growing. Content creation should be central to anything that you do in your business, and it doesn't have to be massive. This could be a simple approach at first. So if you have a local business and all you do is push out special promotions Tuesdays and Thursdays, if you're a restaurant or a local food establishment, that's all you do, that's fine. If you are able to capture their email information or phone numbers as they come in with special prices, etc. I mean, all these are different marketing strategies to essentially get people to engage, to share, to like what they see and hear, both online but also out in the marketplace, locally as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do for content. The bottom line, though, is you must do it, and you should consider yourself a publishing house or a media publishing house, no matter what you do, small or large. And as I said, this list of tools is a way for you to create that. For instance, the first one here, which we use quite a bit, is snappa.com. Great for creating anything related to, from like ebooks to video covers to, banners, ads, It's really come a long way, and the guy who developed that, I think he has expanded his team quite a bit now, is really great. Forget his name at the moment, but snappa.com, definitely get on that. There's a free version there, and then it's of course paid. Another one is designer.io, so it's designrr.io. Google similar pages, right? So what is out there that's working? You need to take a look at the marketplace. The fact that you're trying to build your business is given, but if you're not looking at other businesses who are similar to you, and also potentially in different marketplaces, right? Doesn't have to be the same. You can get great ideas. And so looking at all this is part of your, research, analysis, and content creation strategy opportunities, if I can put that all in one sentence, which I just did. Then these tools help you to think about this. Like, for instance, the next one on the list, paper.li. Allows you to, of course, build your own universe of content that people can consume and see, that, which basically you're curating, but also allows you to research out in the marketplace. BuzzSumo, I mentioned that before, an absolute must for looking at the marketplace, see what's working. I mean, if you see something that's working, create another angle to it, use something similar, create your own, and ride that wave. Evernote.com, great for cross communication, updates of teams, and basically it's like a stick it pad, or what's the name here I'm looking for? It's like a yellow stick it, right? So, but Evernote is a must in your arsenal. And of course, I put on here audience pixels everywhere, meaning anything that you can pixel these days, from Taboola to Outbrain, for native advertising, to, of course, Facebook themselves, Google themselves, all these pixels that are available to build audiences, you need to get that out there. And there are, in fact, third-party tools that allow you to overlay on top of external articles that you can also pixel, right? So it doesn't have to be an owned asset, but the actual third-party tool must allow you to do that. Drumup.io, content curation, social media management, fantastic tool. And then Q.co, Q-U-U-U.co. Content suggestions, paid placement, and of course they have a Q promote as well, which is very powerful. So right here is a powerful list of tools that you can consider looking at. But as I said, it bears repeating, guys and gals, don't look at this and say, hey man, I love drumup.io. Well, that's great, but if you don't have a content strategy in place, then this tool just becomes, frankly, a nuisance after a while, because now you may have even paid for the subscription, and you don't actually know how to use it or what type of results it gets, because you're not really tracking it, right? And by the way, when I say tracking, I mean tracking for growth and sales, not, hey, I got 10 new followers or 100 new followers today, right? Because frankly, that can be spammed and, is inflated in terms of just getting social proof. So we can talk about that at another time. But the next section here is social sharing. And in social sharing, there's that tool that I mentioned briefly about allowing pixels to be placed. It's called snip.ly. We use that tool as well. And there's another one where you can, and again, by the way, you should check this for current compliance, because Facebook changes often here. But the idea that you can use Sniply to push it out to an email list or send this URL out to your list that allows them to read a third-party article when this basically is like a toolbar that overlies on your page with a call to action button, well, then you should consider it, right? Just make sure that you're not creating an annoying, you buy the tool and now you're annoyed or make your audience not like you. These tools are meant to be complementary and supportive of your mission. MeetEdgar.com, a great tool, written by, I forget who, but the lady behind it's really awesome. So she's a social media expert. And Meet Edgar allows you to essentially schedule and reschedule content, so you can repurpose that again and again and again. Buffer.com, of course, coschedule.com, great for calendaring and also pushing out content. And we use Buffer more than CoSchedule, but I'm actually, frankly, a fan of coschedule.com as well. So next section is analytics. And here, of course, we have the global winner in so many ways, at least for small business, Google Analytics. Make sure you have Google Analytics running and on all pages on your website. Another good thing here to do with Google Analytics, which is easy to set up, is what's called goals, so that you can track events that happen based on a certain criteria. And a common one would be, a quote page or a contact us page. Track that for goals, especially if you're trying to drive traffic to the site, whether paid or organic. You should actually consider a more well-developed funnel, but for simplicity's sake, you may just want to track your Contact Us page to start, right? Wicked Reports, fantastic for attribution tracking from the first click all the way to, 3 months later when, the sale came in via an email, which initially started off of Facebook ads, etc. This is a more complex topic in discussion, but Wicked Reports makes this real easy. And the tracking and the reporting is fantastic, and the support from Scott and his team there is beyond anything else I've seen in the marketplace. I mean, he really takes it to the next level. There's also an academy and training inside Wicked Reports, and I think we actually have a coupon for waiving $500 off of that fee. I'll have to check, but if you check with me, I'll connect you with the right people for Wicked Report. And we also have some training on this Wicked Report. If you're unfamiliar with it or I'd like to know more, just go to chaosmap.com and you'll be able to take a look-see. Another smaller version of this, if I can use that, it's unfair to compare these two, but improvely.com is an easy one to implement, and it is $20 or something a month, way less than the few $100s for Wicked Reports per month, and it's a great way to track. We use that actually for 3 clients right now that we just implemented, and Improvely also sends out alerts, so we actually get alerts each time leads are generated, and we can see the history as well. We talked about attribution here just a moment ago. We can actually see the history. So if this came in through a click from a Facebook ad, we'll know the parameters and the URL refers and all the string data that we need, but we can actually see the history, right? So the location, the IP address, etc. And, I was just showing this report to somebody last week, I believe, recently, call it that way. And they were amazed that you could see the entire trail, the history from the first click all the way to actually the lead. In this case, it was a purchase. So for analytics, Google, Wicked, and Improvely. So here we get into SEO traffic and sort of SEO management. We've been doing SEO for a long time at the firm. I actually wrote 3 books for Entrepreneur Magazine, Entrepreneur Press, McGraw-Hill back in the day. And SEO is a fantastic mechanism, obviously, in your digital marketing arsenal of tools and approaches, strategies, sort of lopping those all into one. Because here's a perfect example of, especially in those beginning years, I would buy, SEO tools and call myself an SEO. We're like, yeah, we're SEO people over here, and we're just running a tool or two. This is not a strategy, right? That's basically, just a junior person trying to figure things out, and that's where I started. That's where we started early on. But my background is software development, so it was easy enough to figure out, this is way more than just a tool, right? So here we go. SERP.net. We have used that on and off. We're actually not using it right now. Moz.com, using that on and off as well. SEOmonitor.com, fantastic tool. Highly recommended that one. And we really like the idea that you can forecast traffic and outcomes using data that they collect from, a keyword pool from analytics data that they allow you to connect essentially to your, Google Analytics and to your Webmaster Console, Search Console. So there's a lot of data points here. And then based on ranking factors and prognosis of direction based on work, you can share with the client what opportunities exist in a graph-like format. A fantastic tool, SEOmonitor.com, but it does way more than that, so check it out. There, I think they actually have a free version. Copyscape.com for duplicate content checker. Yoast SEO for WordPress. That is a must as well. And we continue here with Zenu.com, great for spidering essentially your website and finding issues with. It's a free tool, finding issues with your pages and checking out titles and meta tags and a lot more. Screaming Frog, of course, takes this to the next level. That is a must-have, must-do for any site. We use this all the time, every day. Screaming Frog from the UK. Funny name, but a serious tool. Pitchbox, use that on and off. We actually use Mailshake now, but that is great for outreach and for tracking. Pitchbox, interesting enough, a little more expensive actually than Mailshake. They have different pricing levels, but Pitchbox allows you to do outreach for link building, which is tied in with Link Tools, I think it's called, from Germany, and it is a powerful beast. If you get all of that in place. Mailshake.com, great tool, very nicely integrates with your Gmail suite for outreach. We use this almost every day. Ninja Outreach, a great tool. I was going to say a newcomer. They have actually been around for a while. Great tool, great tutorials, great training videos. Highly recommend Ninja Outreach. We've used that on and off. We're not using it right now. And of course, I mentioned the Gmail G Suite. When we talk about tools, we talk about strategies. For, as you look at a tool, you may look at this and say, hey man, that looks like a tool that we could use. And then I say, well, how? Like, in what way would you use this tool? Well, that's where you have to sit down with your team and think about what's the best strategy and what's the best way to use it. I have a client I'm working with now on the East Coast, and they're using Mailshake, but they're not seeing as great results because their copywriter is not really on board, right? I mean, it's the messaging that's off. So the tool works and it's great, but if the messaging is not resonating, the tool is just kind of another nuisance to the receiving party, right? But I've harped on that a lot now, so you understand where I'm coming from. And so we get into e-commerce here as the tail end of this powerful list of tools. For e-commerce, definitely if you're doing drop shipping, etc., Oberlo.com. Shopify Marketplace is, of course, a destination you should consider for anything e-commerce, and Shopify, clearly. PPC Scope, Zipify from Ezra. Definitely got to get those plugins and power tools, and he has some great training as well. Excelco.com, useproof.com, manychat.com. I'm sort of lopping all these in here. They can be used obviously in a combination here outside of just e-com. But right now we're implementing some new ManyChat blueprints for a client, and also going to a conference this week where we're testing some ManyChat automation. It's basically a new approach that we're testing for doing meetups at these conferences. Chatfuel.com, great guy there. FBAtoolkit.com. Clearly, this list is curated by us based on our needs and what we see the marketplace is leaning towards. These are tools that you can use yourself, but I keep repeating this because you should not be just using tools for the sake of tools. Consider the strategy behind it, and then look at this list and see, okay, you know what, that one, this one, and the third one down the list here, that's exactly what we need to use because we're missing it. Didn't even know it existed, right? I mean, if you're doing chat messages on Facebook right now using no third-party tool, and you didn't know that ManyChat and Chatfuel existed, and that you could actually program these and create logical workflows, well, then that's going to be an eye-opening experience. We do these things at the agency but we do it based on well-developed strategies. So again, talking about the lift of the airplane, not just the engine of the airplane, right? So the combination there is magic when you do it right. And the next section here is about Chrome plugins, but I really covered what I wanted to cover here today as far as these power tools, and it's given you a lot to chew on here right now. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically cut it off, and I'm going to ask you to share this broadcast, to comment on it, ask any questions. What are some of the power tools that you use that I didn't include on this list that are new or up-and-comers that you should be considering? Obviously, in this list here, there's been content, there's been keywords, there's been link building. We talked about the sort of overall analysis of the marketplace, but we didn't get into much of say management productivity tools. There may be things here for project management, for instance, that you're using that you couldn't live without. We use Basecamp, but there's clearly just a wide marketplace open here of power tools and practical tools that companies use. I'd love to hear what you're using as well. So please share, comment, like, and come back to me on that. And for the next presentation, I'm going to actually include a lot more from that speaking engagement last year up in Las Vegas. But we're going to be talking a little bit more about strategies, not just tools, because tools alone, as I said, is not where you just you don't want to play there, right? You want to build out a cohesive strategy for your organization, and that's what we do. If you'd like to check that out at chaosmap.com, feel free. There's a big old red button there. You can check a recent case study that we did on an event using Facebook and Google, and also you have an opportunity to connect there as well. We have a free 15-minute session. Happy to join and share some of the findings from this end, but also really listen to you and hear what struggles or what challenges you have, because my intention with all of this content and all this information is not just that, right? Information, you hardly woke up this morning thinking, I just need some more info. It's about transforming you and your business and your life ultimately, so that you can, provide and do better in all areas. And that's really my intention here. So other than that, hope you really enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon, guys and gals. Have a good one.